Doctor Who. It's one of the longest running sci-fi shows in history, spanning more than 60 years and, according to TARDIS Guide, more than 7,000 related stories. Most of which, of course, are spin-offs.
Your casual Doctor Who viewer is probably aware of spin-offs like Torchwood and the Sarah Jane Adventures, more recently Class and Tales from the TARDIS, and maybe Kanan and Company if they're older. More dedicated fans tend to know about stuff like Doctor Who Magazine, Big Finish, some of the comics and books, and maybe stuff like The Companions of Doctor Who from the 80s, again, if they're old. The really hardcore fans tend to know about stuff like the 90s spin-off movies, cutaway comics, and they also know what these things are.
If you don't know who those things are, they're called Faction Paradox. And if you Google them, I'd suggest having at least 3 hours worth of time just to focus on that. It's a very deep rabbit hole. But with all these spin-offs, there's one more tier. One so deep, most Whovians don't even know about it yet. And yet, it spans most of the tiers we've already talked about. And it stars this guy. Chris Quedge, technically Chris Sway, but everyone calls him Quedge because that's how it looks, is an adjudicator from the far future. He and fellow adjudicator Roz travel with the Doctor in this book series called The Virgin New Adventures, published by Virgin Books in the 90s because Doctor was off the air and fans wanted new material. Now, Quedge traveled with the Doctor for a while. He was around when Virgin lost the license to the Doctor and Bernie Summerfield became the main character of the series. He even popped up in Faction Paradox for a little bit. You probably know him, if you do know him at all, from the Big Finish audios he appeared in, which were mostly adaptations of the novels, but there were a couple new stories sprinkled in here and there. But he's never been the main lead of his series until Archbeetle Press took up the mantle.
Archbeetle Press is a small publishing company that's best known for their Doctor Who spin-offs as well as their work with the Wars trading card game. I've been privileged enough to work with them not only on Academy 27, but on 10,000 Dawns and, ironically enough, its spin-off. But how does a small publishing company get the rights to a Doctor Who character?
They got the rights to Chris Quedge, not from the BBC, but from Andy Lane. You see, back in the day, the licensing rights were a bit different. Instead of the BBC gaining the rights to creatures and characters, it was the writers that would get them. And hence, when Andy Lane, who created Quedge, introduced him in Original Sin, the rights went to him, not the BBC, hence how Archbeetle was able to use him.
Quedge the series follows Chris Quedge after the events of the Virgin New Adventures, along with his new companions Laurels and Quoll. Currently, there's 2 books in the main series line, Down the Middle, an anthology containing many different stories, and Requiem, a prequel set before the events of Down the Middle. And then, of course, there's been multiple crossovers and short stories published not necessarily in the Quedge line, but featuring Quedge all the same.
And then we come to my story, The Judas Bargain. Basically, Archbeetle was putting out a Christmas anthology, and they needed writers. Now, I'd already pitched to Quedge, but the story got rejected for reasons I can't exactly say due to spoilers, but let's just say some events shifted and the story I wrote didn't work. But with this, it was a new opportunity that I just jumped on. And I'm proud to say, it was published.
Published in Archbeetle Press's Christmas anthology, A Christmas Codex, The Judas Bargain sits among many other stories by many different talented writers, all set in the worlds of Archbeetle Press. Looking at it now, I still can't believe that my name is in there, next to a Chris Quedge story.
The chance to write a story set in the Doctor Who universe, even if it's just part of the EU, has been amazing. I've been a fan of the show since I was in elementary school, and it's shaped my life in so many ways. And I just love the complexity of the show, not just the main TV line, but all the books, the comics, the audios, the history, the different people that make it, even the ones that aren't affiliated with the BBC. And that, I think, makes Doctor Who more unique than anything else in the world. If you want to read The Judas Bargain, it's free at the link in the description down below. Let me know in the comments what you think, and I will possibly see you in another video.